Hello YouTube, Pilot Wannabe here. Haven't made a video in a while, but today I feel the notion to do so. Anyway, we're here with the new Baron. It is not the Reality Expansion Pack equipped Carenado Baron 58, it's just plain old Baron 58. The Reality Expansion Pack will come later. But I just finished shoveling my driveway and the weather's kind of miserable, and I thought I'd go for a flight and see how far we can get to minimums and if I can make a decent approach and landing under such conditions. Alright, that being said, let's have a quick look around. We're here at the Ottawa-Gatineau Executive Airport, and even though X-Plane 11 does not model seasonally, except for the green grass, I think it looks pretty good out. Alright, let's hop in the flight deck and get going, shall we? Alright, so parking brake. It's a little weird on this. You can't map it to a button. It doesn't seem to work. You have to do it manually. So parking brake is engaged. And let's go with batteries and alternators on. Let's check our fuel status. And fuel valves are open. We have a half tank, which should be good for our purposes. Okay, now it's only my second flight, so you're going to have to forgive me if things don't go quite to the checklist, which I am not using. Alright, so throttles, props, and mixture to full. And we are going to have a look on the fuel flow meter here. And we're going to engage the pumps until she peaks. Peak pretty quick. Okay. Then we're going to pull back the power to idle and then open it about half an inch, or so they say. And I have a SciTech stack here of the switches, radios, and such. And I can't independently start the engines, I don't think. So anyway, I am just going to turn her over. Didn't seem as though they were going to start there. Okay, we are going to idle at about 1,000 to 900 to 1,000 RPM. Okay, and cylinder head temperatures are good. EGT is good. We're going to lean a little bit for ground ops. Okay, that should bring up the EGT to about the 3 o'clock position, which is where I like it. And we're pretty much good to go because I started the engine earlier to do some testing for the audio levels and such, and I think we're ready to go. Alright, so avionics master on. Panel light switch on. Beacon was already on. Let's put on our nav lights. And let's check the temperatures here. And it is just below 0. And from personal experience outside, the snow is a little bit wet. So we're going to go with full de-ice. Okay, and what do we got here? If I hit the de-ice button, they all come off and on at the same time except for fuel vent. So we're going to do that. We don't want any loss of power on this short flight. Okay. So that looks good. We've got the local VOR tuned in, and we are going to fly away from it. Let's see if I can bring it up here. I have the e-bag, so to speak. I think it's called e-bag, and what it does is lets you show PDFs while you're flying. So let's go to my charts and to our airport, which is Charlie Yankee November Delta. There it is, and it's got them all on 1, and there we are. That's the R now. We are going to fly the VOR. So let's see the page down. Nope. How do you do that? Pages. I guess you just scroll it up manually. No, it's this guy here. Okay. looking for the VOR DME. Oh, I think that was it. VOR DME runway 9, which the winds are favoring, I believe. So we are here. We're to take off runway 9, come around back, overfly the VOR, turn around, come back, try to fly this approach. That's the plan. And we got our minimums and everything. And I don't think this chart is current. It says 5 April 2012, but according to my iPad, which is up to date, that's the way to go. Alright. So we are warmed up, we're ready to go. Let's go taxi lights on. And I'm not sure if we're supposed to take off without flaps. So we're going to go down to approach flaps for takeoff. Okay. And I believe we're ready to go. So let's take out the parking brake, and there we go. We are rolling. After a while, it becomes hard to control the speed on this thing. Well, nose piston, and this is a twin. So I don't know how to do it without riding the brakes, but I like to keep the speed under 10 knots, which we can see here. It's a little small right now, but and oddly enough, the airport here, we're going downhill, which is really odd. Okay, all right. Control the speed, control the speed. Also, I find this Baron very twitchy for ground handling. I'm not sure if it's my settings that are doing it, but it won't be on the ground that long. Not that much to worry about. And I'm pretty sure in real life, this airport ramp and taxi is flatter than depicted here, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. Okay, so we're at 7.7 knots taxi speed, and we're about to crest a little hill here. Keeping it under control. So I think we have to read the manual for recommended settings. It should not be this twitchy. Alright. So we're up to almost 10 knots now. Continually applying the brakes. I wonder how this is going to react when I get the reality expansion pack in. Oh my gosh. Alright, it's a little weird. I wonder if it's the wind. We, now that I think about it, let's take this moment. Okay. Alright, so you can't apply the parking brake when you're holding the brakes down. So, interesting. So let's get some ATIS. I think that's on COM 2 already set up.
Ottawa/Gatineau information Bravo. 1400 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable, visibility 1, snow. Sky conditions 1200 broken, temperature -3, dew point -5. Altimeter 2967. Arriving and departing runway 09. Advise on initial contact you have Bravo.
Alright, 2967. Kind of looks about right. Also, I know the field elevation here is 211, so that should do us fine. Alright, so landing lights on, taxi lights off. We already have the de-ice on and strobes on. Cowl flaps are open. Probably should have been from before. We're doing that. Okay. Alright, clear on the left. Clear on the right. And I hope we have no birds to deal with. Okay. Alright, so releasing the brakes. Alrighty. Taken to the runway. Perhaps I should have fired up my track hat. That would have been probably a good idea. I can't even see the center line. I missed the center line. Okay. wasting runway. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's just get her lined up best we can, and alright. Holy jeez. The wind is a beast. Alright, we're not going to do a run up. So, mixture to full, props to full. We are bringing up the power. And ready for the P factor, ready to put in some right rudder. Okay. We are accelerating nicely. There's 60 knots. There's 80 knots. We start to rotate. And we're up and off. Positive rate. Gear up. Alright, we're going to pull back manifold pressure to 25 inches. And, oh, that was the manifold pressure I was looking at. There's 25 inches manifold pressure. And pulling back the probs, 2500 RPM. Alright. And I'm not sure if our trim wheel is working. Oh, it is. Oh, nice. We need some more. It's hard to tell what we're doing. Apparently we're climbing. Alright, we're at 700 feet. Flaps can come up. And let's turn to the north. Holy. Jumping. Alright, I'm going to turn the landing lights off. Doesn't seem to be a factor with like lighting up the clouds and blinding us, so to speak. And I apparently am having trouble getting my bearings. Okay, coming around to the north and climbing. I'm going to pull back the power so we can stop climbing, because this is a powerful beast. Alright, we're almost to the north. We're going to try to fly a pattern out of here. That's what my intention is. So now we're coming around to the west. And we're at 1,800 feet, which is pretty high for a pattern. Trying to get this puppy trimmed so I don't have to fight it. Now we're descending. Alright, there we go. Be leveling off. Okay. And not so much. Alright. So there we are. There's a west heading. And we're trimming for level flight. And there's our runway that we just took off from. Okay. So once we pass the runway, we are going to make for 240 and intercept this 270 radio. Alright, so I have plane command to help me, which is nice for single pilot operation. Set heading 240.
Heading bug set to 240 degrees.
I love that. Okay, so having a trusty co-pilot. Alright, we're climbing again, so we're going to trim those down. We are at about 18 inches manifold pressure. I can pull back the props some more, I guess. Get it about the 2200 range. There we go. Now we need to trim up so as to not descend. There we go. And we're climbing again. Such a powerful beast. Not used to flying twins. Alright, so there we are. I'm going to engage. No, let's fly manually. Alright, no autopilot. Who needs an autopilot? Alright, so we're going to climb to 3,000 feet. So I'm going to bring up the RPM to 2,500. And the manifold pressure to 25. We'll square it at 25. Alright, shit, very sensitive. I oversteered past 240, so let's bring it back around. Alright, I gotta say, IMC is my challenge for sure. I am not that good at it. But we are climbing a lot. This beast is really powerful. Okay, so we're coming up on 240. If we can keep the climb between 500 and 1,000, I'd be very happy with that. probably climb with much less power. All right, we're coming up on the 270 radio. It is time for a right turn. That nose down a little bit. All right. All right, standard right turn, and we're almost there. Set heading 270.
Heading bug set to 000 degrees.
Okay, doesn't always listen well, but it is a help. Set heading 270.
Heading bug set to 370 degrees.
Nope, and we've shot past our 3,000 feet wrestling with this aircraft. So let's pull the power back as it climbs like hell. Alright, and RPM down to about 2,200. That should help. Alright, so set heading 270.
Heading bug set to 370 degrees.
Set heading to 270.
Heading bug set
There
to
we go.
270 degrees.
All right. Now let's get on that radial. Even though we're at 3,400, 3,480. I'll let her come down, and our speed is picking up. Man, this thing's powerful. The winds are awesome. Okay. So, I'm running SkyMaxx 3.3.2, I believe, with Weather Connector and the NOAA plugin. And when there's overcast weather, it doesn't quite seem to show or depict it very well when you're above it, but when you're in it, as you just saw, it looked pretty darn dodgy, shall we say. I like the dodginess. There's a pucker factor involved with the weather being dodgy and flying. Okay, so we're on the radial now. We're going to turn in straight. Winds are light and variable, where they were, so it shouldn't be much of a factor. Okay, aircraft is behaving, and it is stable, which I like. It's just that it's still speeding up, so as it speeds up, it's creating more lift, so I have to keep trimming down. Now this is what the autopilot's doing when you're not paying attention. So flying manually is a little more involved. Okay, must be some wind pushing me off to the left there. So we're going to counteract that. Alright, now visually, there's a quarry here, and we need to be about half mile to the right and fly due west, and we should intercept the VOR. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the VOR is behind these trees. Okay. And we're climbing again. So as I nose down, we're going to speed up some more. So we're at 20 inches manifold pressure and 2,200 RPM, which is a good place to be, and we're doing 160 knots. I should lean. Where's our EGT? There it is. I want to get it at 3 o'clock. I think it's a healthy spot for it to be in, even though I am not a Baron pilot, obviously. It's on my second flight. Okay, so we're about 3,000. We're good. And we are 1.3 miles from the VOR, so it's going to behave in a dodgy fashion. So we're just going to fly our heading 270, and we will see it on the other side, no doubt. Now I like this SkyMaxx. If I had to give it a fault, I think we just overflew it. Needle's going to flip any second. I would say it doesn't quite depict overcast as you'd expect it to from above. So I understand there's a version 4 to be released in the not too distant future. We're descending, so I'm trimming up. Okay. off from our 270, so slight right turn. Okay. I think we're doing good now. So we get a couple miles past the VOR. We're going to turn around, come back, and we're going to see about this approach. Now apparently ceilings are 16 or 1,200 feet. I overdid it again. Back to 270. So this is where we're heading. The autopilot comes in handy. When I'm in IMC, it drifts without me realizing. Partially because I think I'm talking to you and distracting myself with other things. But if this was real, my butt would be clenched and I would be focused on the 6-pack of instruments and not too much else. Okay. So we're 4 miles out. Alright, so according to this, we should be flying on the reciprocal of 265, which is 085. Alright, so let's get the plane back under control here. Set. Oop, that's not what I want to do. Set course 085 degrees.
NAV1 course set to 085.
Nice. Alright, so let's turn 30 degrees to the left. Kind of like a procedure turn, I guess. Alright, there's 240. And we'll fly this for a little bit. 6.5 miles out now. Take this moment as the plane is stable to see what we can see, which is not much. Alright, let's check our engines. Fuel flow is that. Oh, cylinder head temperatures are low. Let's close our cowl flaps. There's something I neglected. Okay. Alright, so let's come around now, try to do a nice, easy turn, banking 20 degrees. Let's give it some power so we won't lose altitude so much. Try to keep it between 15 and 20 degrees in bank. Let's bank to the right 10 degrees now, kind of easing her over to 20. And we are climbing. Don't want to do that. We're back to 3,000, so we gained what we lost. Okay. Alright. I want to overbank it. I think that's what kills a lot of EMC pilots when they're in IMC. You lose situational awareness, and then it's too late. Set heading to 045 degrees.
Heading bug set to 045 degrees.
There we go. Something to aim for. Alright, so our icing, our anti-icing seems to be working. Haven't really detected any loss of power. You could see the streaking there. It is a light snow that's falling. Here we are, we're coming up on our 085 radial. Almost bang on. It's almost like I'm a professional or something. I can assure you that is not the case. Alright, time to roll wings level. Alright. Trim down, take out some of that power we had earlier. Good. Okay. Lost it a little bit there. Have to come back to the left. Set heading 085.
Heading bug set to 085 degrees.
So we have to come back to the left of 085. Get her down to 3,000. And we're 7.2 miles out. Probably a little bit more than I wanted to do originally, which will make this video a little longer. But I want to give this Baron a good exercise. Test of my skills and the dodginess of this weather. Okay, wings level. We're about 30 degrees off, about 6 miles out. So I'm going to have to exercise a little care when intercepting a VOR when you're very close to the station. So I got a 10-degree turn in now. Not much. Just gently bringing the nose around to 085. Okay. So we're wings level. We're on the 085 radial. We're at 3,000 feet. The aircraft is happy. So am I. So I look out the window and something goes wrong. So just because the aircraft is stable for a moment doesn't mean it stays that way. Things happen. Alright. So what's our distance? We're 3.5 miles out. Alright. So we're going to try to come back, catch that radial again. Okay, so let's review our landing briefing here. Our approach briefing. At 5 miles out, we should be at 2,400 feet, and 11 miles out, we should be at 1,300 feet, which is our fixed approach point, which is where we will drop gear and make our final checks. Okay, we're 1.5 miles out. We're going to fly the heading and not the needle. So bring it around back to 185 very gently. Yes, I've noticed that when in IMC, 10-degree turns, 5-degree turns are lots to help you maintain your aircraft in trim and in control. Okay, still have half a mile, 4/10 of a mile, but that's a slant range, so it's a little messed up that way. Anyway, we're perfectly situated, except we are 120 feet below where we want to be. Okay. So the needle is flipped, and I expect it to come back in shortly, and then we can adjust. 3 miles out, we will start our descent. Okay, so there's a river here. Let's see how that compares. The river looks like it's about 7 miles out. So we should be at 2,400 feet before the river. Alright, so what I like to do is to fly the heading until you're at least 3 miles out, and your radial should have come in by then. This is not our airport. That is the Rockcliffe Airport on the other side of the river in Ontario, and we're flying Gatineau, and I think that's our airport right there. Okay, we're 3 miles out, and I am pulling back power, and I'm going to I should pull it out some more. We're going to need more than 500-foot descent. So we want to get to 2,400 feet. So we're going to trim up a little bit. Okay, and let's try to catch that radio. Okay, there's 2,400 feet. Let's level off. And that should have the added benefit of slowing us up as well. Alright, we are way off our radial, so let's take more aggressive action to get that back. There we go. Technique I found useful is to put your track indicator right on the tip of the offset part, the middle part of the radial. That makes for a nice smooth recovery or intercept if you can track it well. Alright, so I have a little issue with the trim, and we're approaching 7 miles. we're already at 2,400 feet. So at 7 miles, we're going to commence down to 1,300. Okay, there's 7 miles. Power out a little bit more. And trim ourselves down to get to 1,300 feet. And now we're going to put out our first notch of flaps. Okay. Descending precipitously, so we're going to trim up. That should slow us down. And it's a straight in 09 approach. Okay, so we're on the radial, and as you can see, it's offset a little bit from the runway, which is here. Okay, looking good. We've got to slow down. So we are going to pitch for airspeed, which means we're going to pull up and trim up. And now we've lost sight of the runway. See, as we descend, SkyMaxx Pro seems to be doing a better job. Alright. And at 11 miles out, about 1 more mile, we should be at our final approach fix. Okay, so we're in a good spot right now. And there's 1,300 feet. Let's see what the MDA is here. So we can go down to 12. Alright. So we'll stay on the radial. We're coming down to 12 feet. We're going to trim up. Probably should add back a little bit of power. And we're going to go full on the props. And full on the mixture. And we're 11 miles. We're going to go gear down. It's going to slow us down some more. We want to stay above blue line speed, so we're going to have to add back some power. We're below 1,200 feet. There's the runway. So let's go visual. Okay. So the ceiling was supposed to be 1,600 feet, and we were at 12. We saw the runway. Okay, we are picking up too much speed. Let's go final flaps. And landing lights on. Gas. Then change tanks. Gas. Undercarriage. 3 greens. Mixture and props are full. And flaps are full. We're looking good. Coming in at blue line speed, which is the way it should be. And I think we're a bit too high. That's easily rectified. Okay, the pappies look happy, which means I am. We're at blue line speed. This is working very, very well indeed. Now let's mess with the trim so we don't have to fight the aircraft so much. Alright, there we go. So I have an analog trim wheel, and let me tell you, it improves your landings smoothness considerably. Alright, almost makes you look like a pro. Alright, so here we are. I'm going to start rolling back the power, but not too much. Alright. Well, look at that. It gave me a good landing. Alright, so flaps up and tap the brakes. This beast does not want to slow down on landings. Really doesn't. Okay, and the ground handling is squirrely, so I'm just pumping the brakes like every good Canadian winter driver does, if he doesn't have ABS. Okay, this is much better than my last attempt. Okay, alright. Alright. So I'm going to feed back in a little bit more power, get those engines idling at about 1,000 RPM, which is where I think we want them. So 111 feet, vertical feet per minute. I think that's a pretty good result for me. I'll take it. Now we're going to back taxi. We're going to exit on Alpha, which is the only taxiway here in Ottawa Gatineau. And how's our speed here, our ground speed? It's like 20 knots. It's like too much. So I don't know how to keep the ground speed to around 10 without riding the brakes, which you don't want to do. Replacing brakes is an expensive endeavor. Okay, and I don't like to turn above 10 knots. We're at 14 and dropping. Okay. Alright, so that number 3 sign means of the 6,000 foot runway at this point, you have 3,000 feet to go. Now that sign is not really there in real life, and it shouldn't be there in particular. Okay. So let us cross the hold short line, as we should. Yeah, right about here should do it. Keep the nose straight. Alright, I have to roll off, take my feet off the brakes to deploy the brakes. Alright, so after landing, you know, we didn't put the, whatchamacallit, the transponder on. How was that? Glaring error. But now we should take it down to the on position. Our flaps are up. We should retrim the aircraft to 0 degrees. And landing lights off, taxi lights on, strobe lights off, and cowl flaps can be opened at this point. And let's pitot heat and de-icing could come off, and the fuel vent can come off. Alright, I like it. So let's go have a look.